I'm Chris, I'm an addict.
I'm Allison, I'm an addict.
I'm Gracie, and I'm not. And welcome back to our 4th episode. If you're not already following all our social medias, go follow them. If you're watching on Facebook, they're linked below. If you're on YouTube, they're linked below. And if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, our YouTube is K-Squared. You can find the rest once you find one. But today we have our first guest.
So we have our friend Allison, who has 7 years clean in January. When we talked about wanting to have a guest on here, she was the first person that we thought of because Allison is the epitome of having a good recovery and just putting her sobriety first. So,
do y'all want to start with how you know each other? Or how we all know each other? Y'all go first.
Me and Krista went through a program together. She came into the program and I recognized her immediately. I actually screamed at her and pointed to her. I said, "I know you."
and
I said, "Your last name is Hatfield."
And I said, "Who, me?" It was my first night there, so I wasn't, in my right mind.
That was me welcoming her, so I just wanted her to know she was in a safe zone.
Felt super safe.
I was going to say, did you feel safe?
But at that moment, no, not that moment. A few days later, we realized that we had a whole lot more in common than what we realized. Athletics was both in our past. So after she told me who she was and I got my right mind, I realized that, we shared a love for basketball as well in our past. So
Yes.
it just shows that, I don't know, like when we've been in treatment, like I've met some of the most talented, like educated people that I've ever met. So this disease does not discriminate.
No, addiction can happen to anyone.
Actually, I think there were several of us in that program who had, played sports their whole lives in college, and I know there was times that we both were like, how did we get here? Like, this is where we're meeting up again. Like, but that's something that I think we should talk about is like just going from playing sports and kind of being in the limelight for like good things, and then life happening and being in the limelight for some negative
things that turned into positive things.
Yeah. But like the effect that can have like on someone's, mental state and self-worth and self-esteem is like detrimental to being able to forgive yourself, and self-forgiveness, like, and just not letting that affect your self-worth, because it did for me. That took years to undo and be okay with.
Even after I graduated the program, I was still very awkward about being around people, being out in public, just because I knew what I was and then what people made me out to be, and then, the aftermath of it.
So we thought it would be good to have like a little Q&A with Gracie asking some questions that would come from like a viewpoint of someone who doesn't quite understand what we go through. So
what was the hardest part for both of you after getting sober and coming back to the reality of life?
Mine would be regaining everybody's trust, because no one trusted me for obvious reasons. And still to this day, like, I feel weird going to the bathroom in anyone's place or asking where the bathroom is, because I feel like people think I'm getting in their medicine cabinets. But, that's just something that will always be like that because of everything I did when I was using. So that's just been a big part of mine, is regaining everybody's trust, my family's, my friends. That's just what it's been.
What would you say is yours?
I think after having some clean time and being like in the recovery community and then relapsing and then just mentally like losing it, and a lot of people saw that and witnessed like part of that, and then having to kind of like build back up from scratch and just like facing everybody and being able to leave that in the past, like not letting like all that stuff define like what I'm doing now, like.
And it's hard.
Yeah, trying to like let that go.
Yeah.
So that was a huge hurdle this time.
So since y'all are both moms, once you guys got sober, what was the hardest part about like coming back to parenting?
So this time, I've always had a lot of support with my family, with my kids, but I think, like, in the past, I tried to do, like, everything on my own. Like, I didn't want to ask for help, and I got really overwhelmed because I went from, like, in addiction, not working, not doing anything, not really, like, a lot of my responsibilities I put off on, like, my parents, too. Like, all right, I have everything now. So, like, I got overwhelmed, and I relapsed in the past. This time, I've tried to transition that. Like, it doesn't have to happen overnight. Like, my kids started out staying, like on the weekend to a couple nights during the week. Just transitioning the kids and coming back into being a mom. Just not getting overwhelmed and stressed. I mean, I get overwhelmed and stressed, but, like, I just don't, like, I don't have a problem asking for help now. At all. Like, at all. So.
What'd you say is yours?
I don't know. I've never been afraid to ask for help, like, with the kids and stuff, so I don't think that I get really overwhelmed and very anxious a lot. So the support that I've had from family and even my friends where the kids are concerned has just been ridiculously crazy. Like, I am very grateful and thankful for family, friends, because I don't know that I could do it without the support that I've had from them. I'm busy, which you already know how busy I am, so without them, I'm not sure that things would have gone as smooth as they've gone the last 7 years. And I'm just so grateful for it. It's ridiculous.
Another thing is, like, parenting out of guilt. I know when I first got clean, like, I had to learn to set, like, boundaries with my kids because I was letting them run all over me. And, like, so, because, like, I had felt bad for, like, the time that I had taken from them. Like, I was physically there, but not mentally. So, whenever I got clean and, like, I was there, then
I feel like I still do that.
Absolutely.
I mean, I do. They run me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's their life. I'm just living in it. I'm just hanging out.
All day.
Yeah, whatever they want. Yeah.
I've heard people say that, like, relapse is a part of recovery, and I know the two of you have different experiences on that. So do you guys want to touch on that?
In my recovery, I have never relapsed. I went to treatment and didn't want to be there. Wasn't sure that I wanted to be there, we'll just put it that way. But anyhow, I actually left the facility. I don't know how long I was there. I tried to get someone to come and get me. Tough love was being displayed. No one would, so I left. And a family member met me in a restaurant parking lot. Took me to a church and had the priest anoint me. And from that point forward, everything was different. So a lot of my recovery, it has been spiritual. Like, before I left the facility, that's not where I wanted to be. I didn't want to be there. I knew that. I would look outside and just beg God, just let me get out of here. That's just how my mentality was. And then after I left the facility, was anointed, and came back to the facility, I no longer was doing that. I was looking out the windows and being grateful that I was where I was. Like, I knew that's where I needed to be. Like, I didn't want to leave anymore, and things have never been the same since. I know with yours, it's been different.
I've had lots of relapses. I've been in lots of different facilities, both mental and recovery. And I think looking back, like, the difference between then and now, like, I'm grateful for all of those different experiences that I went through, because I feel like my recovery has evolved. But the biggest thing this time compared to then is, like, I had, like, a moment of clarity, like, and I was, like, by myself, alone. Like, I've shared before, I was dealing with suicide, and I got to a point where, like, death was kind of like reality. Like, I could die out here, and, like, something spiritual happened out there where I was like, I'm not trying to die. Like, survival kicked in, like, and then I was like, I just felt I wasn't, like, in the middle of nature. I felt like more connected with my higher power than I ever had before, and that was just, I haven't looked back since. Like, I started doing, like, internal work rather than just, like, going through the motion of, like, a program, or because you know, someone's telling me to do something. Although I am in a program right now, like, I've used that as like accountability, but I've been doing like internal work with like, you know, a counselor, like my spirituality. That's what I focus on this time. Like, and I'm just like, the end of my program is coming up, and I've just built like a huge support system, like with people that have like, you know, short-term recovery and long-term recovery, just, you know, in all aspects of it, you know, like meetings and like spirituality, like just different people that can hold me accountable if I do kind of, you know, fall short.
I'm just grateful that you're still here.
Me
I am.
Oh.
I am, for real.
Allison saw
I
me.
know what you went through.
You saw me through all of that.
Yes, and that was hard. It was just hard. I was worried about you.
That's another thing. Like you've experienced staying clean through all this time, but like several of us in our little friendship group have relapsed, and like what kind of effect did that have on you?
It was hard. Like, and sometimes I would even question God when I knew I shouldn't. Like, why have I stayed sober? They're questioning. Why have I stayed sober? And you know, my friends are struggling. Like that's really hard, and I questioned it a lot. But I just made sure that I did whatever I could for them at a distance. They all know that I love them, but
And I mean, you did, like, even through all those times where like I felt alone, like both of you and others would like, I would get a text message like, "We're here." I just wasn't ready for it, you know.
Right.
Like,
but it's very important, like when you're in recovery, even if you relapse, whatever, that you know that you have friends out there that are there for you. Whether it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter what you've done, they're still going to be there. And I just made sure you knew that because.
And I think that's I do that for people now because like you did that for me. Like people that I know who have slipped up or went back out, like, and they reach out. Like I'm also gonna like learn to love from a distance, but just like I'm here for you when you're ready. I'm here for you. You know, like, and then it is hard.
And it's a waiting game. You're just waiting for another moment of clarity is what you're waiting for.
And unfortunately, like I've seen a lot of my friends like not make it through this disease, and that's another reason why I feel like we're coming on here and like sharing this stuff, because I know you have too, like just seeing, especially when you go through like a long-term program and there's so many different women that you meet, that it's all the time you're hearing like this person overdosed, this person, you know, didn't make it, and it's just, that's the reality of it. So
it is.
Like I think that's another thing, like if we can touch somebody that's out there that doesn't like give up and they can get some help, there's one more person, you know.
Yes.
So what's something for y'all that like in the moment, if you feel overwhelmed, that helps you kind of relieve that stress now?
Pray, yeah.
For
sure.
I don't know that people in recovery really feel like praying is a big deal, but it is in my recovery. I pray a lot. I read Unshakable every night, and once I'm done with that one, I'll get another devotional. That is big in my recovery. When I'm overwhelmed or anxious, something simple I do is I write. I have a journal. I write. That's how I deal with a lot of triggers or any stress that I have. Like my dad recently passed away, and I don't know what I would have done if I didn't write. Like that's just what I do. That is how I relieve a lot of emotions and things I'm feeling. And I know everybody does different things, but writing is a big one for me. I don't know about you, but
so I don't like writing. So the way that I channel those triggers and stuff, like I meditate. I'll literally hook my phone up to my TV, like with YouTube, and like put on like meditation videos and chakra cleansing, and like I'm really into that. Like and music is a huge meditation like for me, and it's crazy since I went through like all this spiritual stuff. Like I can literally turn on the radio, like anything, and like a certain song will come on and it's like exactly what I need to hear at that moment. And that is, for a little while it started to freak me out, but now like I've kind of embraced that, and I almost look forward to that. Like if I'm going through something, I'm like, what's gonna pop on the radio now? And it'll literally be something that I need to hear right then. Like, so meditation for sure.
Music is
therapy.
I mean, I do feel that way, but like I just started listening to music again in my vehicle not very long ago because I couldn't listen to it after Dad died. Seriously, like because it was bringing up all these emotions that I guess I didn't realize that I hadn't dealt with. That's where my writing comes into play. So, but now that I've written and I write daily, I can listen to music again. But there for a little bit, no music whatsoever. Like my kids were like, "Are we not going to listen to music today?" And I'd be like, "Nope, not today." At least a good 11 to 12 days, no music whatsoever. But now I've started the healing process, so things are a little different.
So, in conclusion, what is one piece of advice or words of wisdom that you would give to someone who is wanting to become sober or is freshly into recovery?
So I think the main thing is to not compare yourself to someone else's recovery, because I mean, just like us, they're completely different. And it's just, you're not failing if you're not doing it. I mean, like if I look at somebody, I'm like, I don't have those things, like it doesn't mean that I'm not doing it right. Like somebody might get it in a month, 2 months, like might hit their spiritual awakening, and so it might take years. I mean, just stay focused on what is going to heal you and get you healthy.
Don't ever give up. Lean on God. You'll have to fight every day for your spirit to be in the right place. Like every single day is a battle. You're not just going to wake up one morning and be okay. You literally will have to fight every day, but it's worth it. All of it's worth it.
And that's another thing, like every day is not this beautiful like rainbow. Like this last year has been hard, and I mean things you've been through have been hard. Like I'm like, there's days I wake up like, how am I gonna stay sober through this, or how am I gonna but I just know I'm going, like I can. There's a solution. You don't have to get high to like go through things in life.
No. You just have to find the coping mechanism that's best for you as an individual, which is not going to look like anyone else's coping mechanism.
And that, like, you might go to, a counselor or a program, and you might, like, there's times that I felt disconnected, or like, this isn't for me. If it doesn't sit right with you, there are all kinds of different avenues. Like, if something doesn't sit right with you, try something else. Like, that was hard for me to accept, because I thought there was like a black and white, like, do this or don't, like. And I think that's something to, like, just give yourself grace. Like, not everything is, you're not going to do everything right.
And don't be afraid to reach out or talk to someone about it. Like, don't be embarrassed or anything like that because of the stigma. You have to reach out. You have to talk to someone. You have to get help. If you feel like your spirit is messed up once you're coming into recovery, I feel like that was the hardest time, is coming out of a facility into the real world. Just reach out. There's so many people out there that can help you navigate all those channels.
And find yourself a circle of people that, like, I mean, because we have that, and like, there are embarrassing things that we have shared with each other, and most of us have went through the same stuff. Like, so it's not like, even if you feel like I cannot tell another person this stuff, like, we get it.
Thanks for having me on your podcast. I was really honored that you asked me to be here. For real, I was.
Your first guest.
I'm happy to be your first guest.
First person, I thought.
So will you come back?
Yeah.
So we hope this gave you like 2 different perspectives in a different way than we usually do. But we also would love to have more guests. So if you would like to be on our podcast, we would love to have you. Please reach out to us, and it can be anybody. Like if you have a family member in recovery or that's an addict, or if you don't, I mean, it can be anybody. So please reach out to us. We hope you enjoyed, and take it away.
Peace out.